Well, hello and welcome everyone. We are in the third part of our PHP MVC e-commerce series, and it's been a week since we've done the last one, and I have had a lot of feedback from you guys. Overwhelmingly, the feedback has been positive, which I'm very grateful for. There's been some negative feedback from the last few videos, and so I want to address that quickly here and tell you what to expect moving forward for tonight. And I'll also kind of share with you what I've learned and what I hope to improve upon. So we're all here to become better developers. I'm also hoping to become a better teacher and better at just doing these live streams in general. So in the first series, you guys go ahead and comment and let me know that you can hear me. Let me go get my chat open. Artur, hello. Khalil, hello. Hello, JJ. Hello, Steve. Welcome. I knew you guys would be the first ones here. You guys are really involved, and you guys have been really awesome. And Artur took it upon himself to actually create a site, which we're going to take a look at here in just a moment. But what I wanted to do is tell you first what's going well with the live series so far, what's not going well, and just kind of address what's not going well. So what's going well is I think that we've done some important things and we've learned a little bit. I think everyone's kind of picked some stuff up. Hello, welcome. If you're just coming in, hello. We've not done too much yet, so let's get going. So you guys know what's going well. Everyone that's here right now is giving me pretty positive feedback, but I did receive some criticism that I wanted to address. Primarily in the last, in the first video, the audio wasn't so great and the video wasn't so great. So I've tried to improve that the best I can with the equipment that I have and with the finances that I have. I can't buy too many more things right now. The wife wouldn't be too pleased with me with that. So I'm doing the best that I can in that front. Hopefully that will improve as well. I think the second video was a little bit better with audio and video, and hopefully this one will be good as well. But the biggest piece of feedback that I received that kind of, I didn't think about it, but after having a week or so to kind of reflect on it, I think it's a valid point. And that's, I've been doing this series on the MVC framework for a very long time. There's almost 70 videos. And the last stream, let me adjust my microphone real quick. Sorry if that made noise. So the last stream, we spent the entire time refactoring the validators on the MVC framework. And some of you guys didn't mind because some of you are following along with the MVC framework, so it kind of just merged together. And I didn't really think that much about it, but this is a separate stream. This is a separate series from the MVC series. And so we spent the entire time last time working on the framework, and that's really not fair to you guys. So I do apologize for that. I think we learned some stuff last time, especially if you didn't know maybe what an abstract class was. So I'm happy that we did it. But I do want to stay more focused on the e-commerce site and building that in these live streams. So with that being said, the last time when we left off, I told you guys that we were going to finish refactoring the validators and on tonight's stream. That is not what we're going to do because if you guys been following my channel, you'll notice that in the MVC framework series alone, I worked hard and I released 9 videos since our last live stream to try to refactor those validators and do all of that in that series, and that's the correct place for it. With that being said, we really haven't done too much with the e-commerce series yet, having spent this is the beginning of our third stream here. So I do want to make some really good progress tonight on the e-commerce side of things. But in order to do that, and I hope I don't make you guys mad, but in order to do that, we're going to start over. And I know that sounds scary, but honestly, we're going to be further at the end of today than we have been all along. And since we're not doing the refactor of the validators tonight, it's only going to take us a couple minutes here to get back where we were and further ahead. And there's a couple reasons that I want to start over. The first reason that I want to start over is I've done a lot of refactoring on the framework, and there's a lot of stuff in the framework that's going to make it better and allow us to move quicker. And so it's important for us to have all of that code with this thing. The other thing is the way that I did it, I didn't really want to confuse you guys with using Git and things like that. And so what happened is, as I fixed bugs in the framework, there's really no way without manually going in and updating your code to fix the framework in your project. And so we're going to change that. We're going to use Git, and I'm going to teach you guys how to fork our branch, the MVC framework, to create your own branch, or not your own branch, but your own repository from the forked branch. And then you'll do all your development in that forked branch. And then you can actually merge in, like in the future, if I discover a bad bug in the framework or I extend it outside of this series, we can easily pull that stuff back in, and you guys will have all the updates, and you can continuously update the framework in that way. I'm going to be right back. It's very hot in here. I'm going to turn down the heat really quick. Also, that might kill some of the sound. I'm right by the heater, and I also have very horrible acid reflux tonight, so I apologize if I make weird noises or if my throat makes weird noises, but I'll try to stay on point. When I come back though, I'm going to show you some cool stuff that Artur did, and then we're going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to get going, and I'm going to show you guys how to fork this repository. So hang on one second. I'm going to leave you guys right there. All right. The other little bit of feedback that I got was from my wife and her friend. They were making fun of me because of my flannel shirts and my hat, and they said that I look like a farmer. But you know what? This hat was actually my dad's, and when he passed, I was standing next to him, and this hat was like on his nightstand right by him, and so for some reason I put it on, and then I wore it for a very long time after he died. So I'm just gonna wear it, just kind of honor him. And I don't care if I look like a farmer. In fact, I think if you guys want to be good developers, you all need to get yourself a flannel shirt and a hat and a ball cap, and be comfy and drink lots of coffee, and just chill out, man. Be chill like a farmer. If you're uptight and angry all the time, it's gonna make you a miserable developer. But if you just kind of chill out and learn to take some deep breaths and walk away when you get angry and come back later, after the sun comes back up or something, it will do you well. The other thing I just wanted, just one more little bit of housekeeping. If you guys hear any loud crashing noises, over the weekend, a few days ago, we got like a ridiculous amount of snow, like 14 to 16 inches of snow, which is a lot for our area. And I am in a big metal building with a huge metal roof, and it's gotten warmer today. And so I've been sitting in here, and every now and then a huge piece of ice and snow slides off the roof, and it's a big metal roof, and it sounds like the whole building's caving in, and then it hits the ground and it shakes the building. So if that happens, I can't stop it. It's literally probably hundreds or if not thousands of pounds of ice and snow. It's just going to do what it does with gravity. Okay, so with that being said, guys, I'm going to show you guys how to set up Git and to use Git. If you don't, just go ahead and throw in the comment section if you guys are familiar with Git, if you use it, things like that, really quick. I actually look like a heavy metal band member. That's really funny because I was in a heavy metal band for about 12 or 14 years. I was a drummer for a heavy metal band, believe it or not. So I'd actually like to be in a metal band again someday, but I'm pretty busy and with the kids and everything I can't. So that's funny that you said that. No metal bands around here looks like that though, because metal bands tend to be countercultural, and I live in an area where where the local people kind of all look like farmers. So the metal people, the metal bands here kind of look quite a bit different than the surrounding people. So anyhow, yeah, drummer. I tried. I just beat on some stuff. But all right. So what? Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Make sure that you can see me, or see my screen rather. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to check if you have Git installed. And when I say Git, I mean Git. William says it's 4 a.m. in Tanzania. Wow, man, you have a lot of dedication. So you managed to stay awake until now? Wow, okay. All right, so what we're going to do is go ahead and open up a command line if you're on Windows, or terminal if you're on Mac or Linux. I'm on Linux. I don't know all the commands for Windows because I do not use Windows. I hate Windows. I'm sorry if you love it. Don't take it personal. I just find that for development, Linux and Mac seem to be a lot better to develop on, and I actually enjoy Linux more. Okay, so to see if you have it installed, just type git, G-I-T, and then a space, dash, dash, and version, and hit enter. And if you see git version here, and then it has a version number, you are good to go. You have git installed. If you do not see that message, and you don't have git installed, go ahead and head over to git-scm.com, and you will see a download link here for you. It works on Linux, it works on Mac, and it works on Windows. So yeah, guys, I'm not going to go in depth on Git, I promise. I just want to make sure that you guys can follow along, and it's going to take literally like 30 seconds. So we're not going to spend tons and tons of time on that. By the way, Khalil, I think you said in the last video that you were from Beirut, and so I looked that up, and man, that is beautiful. There's some awesome pictures there. That looks like a place I would love to go on vacation to. So if I ever decide to go Beirut, I might hit you up and see if I can crash on your couch there, because that place is beautiful. All right, guys. So here's what we're gonna do. Head over to bitbucket.org, and my section is Parham Curtis. So if you head there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fork this repository, and you will need a Bitbucket account to do so, because you're actually going to fork it here. So what we're going to do here is click on the Rua MVC framework. All right, and then what you're going to do is, let's see, I'm going to click on the plus there, and then I'm going to click fork this repository. And then go ahead and name the repo your project, what you're going to be working on. So for me, this is just going to be live, live e-commerce YouTube course. You guys give it a shorter name for yours or whatever. And then what we're going to do is click fork, and what it's going to do is it's going to create in your account a fork of the MVC framework. And I'll show you in a little bit how we're going to actually connect this inside of Git, so that later if I make any changes to the framework, you guys can merge in those changes without affecting your own repository. Okay, so once you have this, go ahead and go up here to clone, and I'm going to choose HTTPS because I haven't set up SSH on my Linux machine yet. And then I'm going to click copy. So this is the forked one. This is not you're not cloning my MVC framework, you're cloning your forked version of this. All right, and then what I'm going to do is navigate to your htdocs. So for me, it's in the opt-lamp htdocs directory. And I'm just going to paste that right there. And it'll clone that. And once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and cd Well, actually, let me look at that real quick. I'm going to rename mine because that's really long and I don't want to type that out in the browser. So I'm just going to rename it live. And then I'm going to cd to that directory. And then let's do a get -v or get remote -v, I believe. Yeah, and so make sure your origin is your bit bucket. So fetch and push will be your bit bucket repository, not mine. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is we actually want to set up a separate thing for the upstream. Okay, so that we can merge back in the upstream. So what I'm going to do is go back to Bitbucket. Instead of being in this repo, I'm going to go back to the Rua MVC framework, which is what we're going to be copying from now on. This is the beginner, the blank framework. So I'm going to click in here. And inside of here, what we're going to do is I'm going to go up here to clone, change this to HTTPS, and I'm not going to copy the get clone part. I'm just going to copy the actual link and close that. And then I'm going to go back to the command line, and I'm going to type get add upstream, and then I'm going to paste that URL in there. Hopefully I'm not messing that up. Let me go here. I have GitHub's stuff pulled up. Get remote add upstream. I forgot the remote part. So there's like 5 or 6 git commands that you use all the time. And the rest of them I always have to look up because I don't remember every single git command. Alright, so now if I do get remote -v, dang it, let me try that again, -v, now we have origin and we have upstream. And that's important. And you notice that the upstream is from my Bitbucket framework. Now if I make change to that, you guys can merge that in with a simple merge command. So if we ever get to that point, I will let you guys know and we will do it on the video. I'm sure we will because I'm going to be making changes to the framework all the time. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and fire up my servers. You know what's really cool? Linux Mint has this little tray icon that it adds, and I can manage my server and then open the web directory and stuff like that from right here. I mean, it's not hard to do it anywhere else. I just thought it was kind of neat that they had like a little built-in plugin for that. All right, so let's see here. We'll check on you guys, make sure you're not lost. All right, so we have to be careful about background music because yeah, that's funny, guys. Music producer, composer. Yeah, I worked in a recording studio for a while too, and I recorded music. Then I had my own studio. I was a lot better at tracking. I got decent at mixing and mastering, but I have a lot still to learn on that. But I'd love to be in a band again and produce music. It'd be fun. All right, so anyways, enough about music. We're talking about programming, which is not all that unlike music. All right, so now that we have our Git and everything set up, let's go ahead. I'm going to close this little documentation here. I'm going to close Git. And then one last little bit, I want to go and I'm going to go to localhost php my admin, and I'm actually going to delete my last database here. And so let's go to, I don't use php my admin much, so I think it might be in operations. You guys might know this better than me, how to delete this table. Let me just right click on it. No. I generally use a program called SQL Pro, and I'm only using this because this is probably what you guys use. I'm not sure why I can't find. Oh, remove drop database is right in front of my face. Okay. So now that we've done that, I'm going to recreate it, and I'm just going to call mine live. The reason I'm doing this because I really want your guys' database and mine to match, because if I end up troubleshooting your code, because a lot of you guys really send me like, you want me to look at your code, and I don't have a lot of time to do that. Understand that I have like 8,000 subscribers almost, and I love that, but I would literally spend all day looking at other people's code and troubleshooting it to try to find a bunch of syntax errors. And so yeah, we're gonna stick with MySQL for this series, guys. We're not gonna do any other databases. This is just available for everyone. It's free, and it's really, really fast, and it's nice. So we're gonna use that. I know there's some other free ones too. We can all get nerdy if we want, but let's not get too nerdy. We're here to build a freaking MVC e-commerce site. All right. I am going to do some other series though. I've decided I think I'm going to do a Node.js and React.js course, and I may use Mongo with that. I don't know. I haven't decided on that part yet, but I'm probably going to build a social networking site when we do that series. All right. So now that we have this, I want to import. I'm just going to choose File, and go ahead and navigate to my directory that we just cloned. And there's should be a SQL file here. There we go. There you go. All right. So let's go here now. All right. So now let's just see. Let's go and open up the files. So here and live, I'm just going to type Adam. Okay. And then close these down here. All right, so the one thing that I want to do is open up, I want to go ahead and open up the config file, and I just want to make sure that I'm connected to the right database here. So mine was called live. All right. All right, so we're not too far away from where we were. We started on a little details page before, but actually we're going to jump in and start configuring some really cool stuff with our admin portal, and we're going to work on doing so I can barely keep up with you guys' comments. You guys are commenting. That's great tonight. Are you also good in mobile applications? You know what? You know what's cool is if you learn JavaScript well, and so you used to have to learn Java to develop on Android, and you had to learn either Swift or something else for Apple for the iPhones, and actually they have this thing for React called React Native, and it will actually you can build for iPhone and for Android with the same code base, and it's really, really cool. So if you learn React and JavaScript, you can actually build desktop applications. You can build all kinds of things. What about the auto loading, Steve? Yes. So the auto loading, we're going to talk about that. I think Vue is better. You know, the thing about Vue is nice, but when you build like enterprise level type applications, the thing that makes me nervous about Vue right now is Vue has one developer pretty much, and that guy is really, really talented and really awesome. But if he gets hit by a bus, there could very well be no further development on Vue. So I'd like to give it a little more time to become, a little diversified, instead of one developer maintaining that. So I don't think Facebook is going away anytime soon, and they have been doing a lot of development on React. And Vue is very similar to React. So if you learn React, it's not a far stretch to learn Vue and vice versa. I actually use React every day at work. So the reason I chose probably to teach React is because there's a lot of job opportunities around here, at least for React, and they're very well-paying jobs, and it's one of the more popular JavaScript frameworks. I think it's kind of starting to overtake Angular in this area. It's definitely more popular than like Backbone and some of the other ones. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about where the framework's at, because Steve asked, well, what about autoloading? And the thing is I've already refactored the autoloading stuff. So if you haven't checked that out, that series, the rest of those videos, I posted 9 videos in that series since then. And the thing is that we did all the validation stuff's done. So I redid all of that. There's like 6 videos for that. I fixed a bug. So if you guys were having an issue where only one menu item was loading and there wasn't multiple menu items loading, then what's that is fixed as well. And I changed the autoloader to be a PSR4 standard for autoloading. So that is what's going to be going on there. Hello, I'm in Vietnam, and this is 9 a.m. working time. I will watch your stream later. Thanks for your free courses. You're very welcome. Have fun at work, and I will see you later, bud. All right, so the next thing that I want to do here is let's go ahead now and I want to make sure this is working. So let's go to live. All right. Log out. So the other thing that you guys should do is go to random string generator. Just search for that. I know, guys. I could use a function for this. Generator. Try to spell this. So I'm just going to do uppercase letters and sure numbers. So get some strings. Get some longer strings. Let's do 20. All right. I'm just going to copy a couple of these. And then what I want to do is go to the reason I'm doing this. What happened to? One second, guys. All right, so the one thing is it still had my cookie set up and my logged in stuff, so the session. So I'm actually going to change these strings out. You guys could also just bash the keyboard a bunch without hitting any special characters, and that would work as well. Let's see, this one looks cool. Doesn't matter what I do, this stuff's you guys, with this live on YouTube, I would change this before I went live with anything. All right, so now if I go back here and refresh, I'm going to register myself, make sure all this is still working. All right, validation looks good. So can't talk and type passwords at the same time for some reason. What in the world? Live. There shouldn't be any, there's no rows in my database. So it's like it's cached or something from the previous thing, unless I'm missing something here. Live, root. There's definitely nothing in my database. Oh, geez, I am really stupid. So you look at my URL, you see how it forwarded me to Rua? Alright, so we gotta go to live. The reason it forwarded me is because also in the config file, right here, this proot is set to Rua still. So I need to update that to live. Alright. So if you guys, I do want to take a moment and show you guys what our tour did and talk to you a little bit about that. Alright. Alright, so now we should be good. Let me go ahead and log in. Alright, good deal. Hi, Ben. My kids love to get on my live streams. My kids are actually 6 and 8 years old, and they're trying to start their own YouTube channels. And so my youngest, Ben, is going to be reviewing he got a dirt bike for Christmas, and he's going to be doing videos about riding his dirt bike and stuff like that. And then my middle child, he's 8, and he's going to do a video. He loves video games, so he's going to be a gamer YouTuber. I think he's going to start with the new Spider-Man or something like that. So, love you guys. Good night. All right, so have you guys, just go ahead and throw in the comments, have you added any additional permissions yet with this framework in the ACLs? Because that's what we're going to do right now, and I want to see if I'm just curious if any of you guys figured that out on your own, or if you have not. I'm gonna drink a coffee too. All right. Khalil says nope. All right, so let's dive in. So let's just a quick recap on how permissions work with this. Oh, I do want to show you this, guys. Check this out. So Artur built this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Artur, you did this on the framework, correct? Or is this something else? This is our framework, I'm assuming. Because we better be smoking what we're selling here. Anyhow, this is a start to actually creating some documentation and a download page for the framework. And so I'm going to be getting with Artur outside of this live streams, and we're going to kind of talk through this and figure out what we're going to do. And so I think this looks pretty good. He did a great job with the design. Probably we're not going to be able to call it Argon because there's an Argon JS framework. Also, this is the taglines for Laravel, so we need to change that too. But I was really impressed with this, and actually I think it's like, I don't know, I just can't express how it feels to have you guys believe in something enough to put something together like this and to show it to me. So thank you so much, Artur, and all you guys give him a big thumbs up for doing that. And he asked for help on documentation, so we're going to start documenting this framework for all of us and for any future developers who want to use it. It can speed up development quite a bit. So anyhow, here we go. So I want to show you guys just real quick how these permissions work. So we have inside of the app, we have the ACL.json and we have the menu ACLs. The menu just builds out the menu, okay? But the heart of the permission system is the ACL.json file, okay? And so by default, everyone when they visit the site, they're a guest, okay? So everyone has all of the guest permissions automatically. The other thing is if you're logged in, then you have any sort of ACL um, inside of the logged in addition to the guest permissions. Okay. The other thing is we can just continue to add. So right now we have guest and logged in by default, but we're going to add like a super admin user, and we can add as many different types of any different levels of control that we want. And you can do two different things. You can, it's just however you define this. You can actually make it to where it's very specific. So if a super admin person has access to one thing and an editor doesn't have access to that, you can change all of that sort of thing. So the first thing that I want to do is let's create a new ACL level. And the way that we're going to do that, the way that we're going to do that is right here after the logged in section. Just go ahead and throw another comma there, and we're going to say super admin. And if you're like me, you won't ever spell anything correct. And then the super admin, we'll just do basically it's going to be a list. It's going to be a list. You have to do denied first, which right now we're not going to deny anything. So I'm just going to leave that blank. And then after that, you define every controller and things like that that's going to be available to the super admin. And so I'm going to append or prepend all of my controllers with an A for the admin area or for the portal. And so the thing that we're gonna build two controllers out today. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do A, and then it'll be dashboard, and then I'm just going to give permissions. If you use a star, that'll be every action. So if you guys haven't gone through the course, these right here, this is going to be the name of the controller, and then inside of here is a comma separated list of actions they have access to. So you can fine tune every single controller action and give them access to that. But if you use a star, they're going to have access to every action inside of that controller. So in this case, that's what I want to do. And then while we're at it, let's just go ahead and add A products. You guys might have better naming conventions than I do, but that's what I'm going to call it. And so I need to create controllers that will use these, all right? So inside of the controllers right here, I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to do a dashboard.php, actually controller.php, and then I want to create one more, and this one is a products.php. Nope. A products controller.php. All right, and so yeah, we could append all those with admin instead of A. We'll change that because I haven't written any code yet. So Khalil had a good suggestion. It's really hard to think of names while I'm typing and talking to you guys. So if I do stupid variable names or stupid file names, so 000webhost.com looks to be a free one. I personally, it's a little more work and you don't get a cPanel with it, but I personally use DigitalOcean. It's so cheap. Literally you pay for the time that it's up. And so when I'm testing stuff on a live server, you can spin up any sort of image that you want, and they have some one-click type things on DigitalOcean. I enjoy DigitalOcean. It's a little bit, like I said, you have to use command line and SSH into it to do stuff, but it's dirt cheap. It's like $5 a month if you leave the whole thing running the entire month. But literally, if you like just want to test something, you spin it up and it might cost you like $1 or something like that. So you hope PHP works well on cPanel. So that's kind of a weird thing to hope. cPanel itself is basically just it's a built shared hosting type interface. So if you're using like HostGator or GoDaddy, for instance, both of those use cPanel. And so, yeah, so PHP is not related to cPanel. cPanel is a way to, it's a way to manage a shared hosting account and to manage files and things like that. So as long as the hosting thing that you have, as long as the hosting thing you have has a PHP server like Apache, in our MVC framework right now, you need to use Apache, which is the number one PHP thing anyway, program anyway. But the thing is that if you do use Nginx, which is the other one that you'll find, we'll have to add a little bit more to your index.php to make the pretty URLs work. And also, the only other caveat to the whole thing is that whatever hosting account you use, you have to have htaccess turned on so that you can do mod rewrites. So you have to do mod rewrites, and every now and then, like most of them have it turned on by default. So if most of them have it turned on by default, but if they don't have htaccess, you usually have to send a support ticket and ask them to turn it on for your account, and then they'll usually do that. All right. So that is, I'm not gonna spend any more time on the free live server stuff. I'll let you guys research that stuff on your own. Just make sure that it runs PHP. You'll be good to go, man. Don't ever worry about breaking stuff. That's the other thing, is like I find so many people that just get they just get frozen and they don't do anything because they're like, oh, I'll probably break it or whatever. And that's, just do it. I mean, and then try to get help. So let's see, Khalil said to admin dashboard. Yeah, that's better. That's better. I'm gonna rename that. So we'll do admin dashboard. And we'll rename this one as well. And we'll say admin products. All right, touche, good job. All right, so let's start with the dashboard. So we'll open up PHP tags. And remember, now that we're doing the PSR4 auto-loading stuff, that you have to declare the namespace, and it has to be the first thing you do after the opening the PHP tags. So namespace is going to be app /, and it doesn't matter what your directory separator is, guys, it's always / no matter what system you're on. So it's app / controllers. That is our namespace. All right. We do need to use our controller. So what we're going to do is say use core / controller, and then we'll say class admin dashboard controller extends controller. All right, and then we'll do the public function construct. Let me just open up the home here. Yeah, all we have to do is construct the parent and pass down the controller and the action to it. So do parent construct pass down controller and action, and then we'll just need to, these get added right in, these get added into the constructor here when we instantiate the controller. Alright, so then what we'll do is we have this set up. Let's go ahead and just real quick, let's set up our index action. And then we'll just do this view render. Let's see, what are we going to call this thing? Admin dashboard index. All right, so then we'll create a new view and we'll call it admin dashboard. And inside of there, we're going to create a new file, and that will be index.php. And we're not going to do anything with that. Well, maybe we'll just put dashboard here. All right. So then the next thing that we're going to do is I'm just going to copy all of this stuff, because for now this is going to be our admin products is going to be almost identical. Okay. And so we'll also create a new folder. Inside of that, a new file. And I'm going to copy this index.php real quick because I'm lazy. And we're just going to call this products. All right, so now let's, oh, and by the way, since we changed the name of those controllers, we just need to change them here in our ACL. So it's going to be admin dashboard and admin products. Okay, so right now, if we go to the site and I try to navigate there, so let's go to admin dashboard. It redirects me and says you do not have permission to access this page, and that's because I don't. So if you look at all right, so JJ, if you have improvements to the framework, bud, let's do it like this. Why don't you create a pull request on the actual framework and then submit those changes. Let me read through the code and I'll take a look at it that way. That's the easiest way to do it, is to submit pull requests. So we'll do that. So I missed the static after parent. Yes. Yes, I did. You guys would be surprised just how difficult it is to do this after working all day. Like, I just jump in and I'm like, hey, it's like I forget how to type, I can't talk. I'm completely dead tired every single time we do one of these. Like the last two of these live streams, like I could barely hold my eyes open when I left. I don't know why, just talking that long and trying to do this live is unbelievably hard. So thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so so anyhow, it's still not going to work. We don't have permission to go here, and the reason that we don't have permission is because the way that you do this is you add these additional ACLs to the ACLs in the user. So for instance, when we go to add vendors or employees, or however you want to look at it, people who have permissions to go to the backend portal, we're going to build a different form to add those people, and that form will let us choose like super admin, and we may add additional privileges here for them. But I'm just going to manually add this to the database now, and later we'll use a form to do so. So we'll make it easy, but for now we just need to add the JSON string to the form. So what I'm going to do is go to the home controller here just for fun, and I'm going to, right here on the index action, I'm going to go ahead and do core h dnd, and then I gotta get rid of this backslash right here. And then what I want to do is I'm going to JSON encode super admin. So let's go to the home page. Dang it. Hoping not to have to do this. This is why I originally skipped doing the PSR4 autoloading, because I'm lazy and I just like to type the class names. And so the other autoloader was a little bit easier. So I'm just going to copy this here, and then go to the database, and on the user right here, this ACL column, I'm going to paste that right in there. All right, and then now if I just go and get rid of this, and now let's try it and navigate to admin dashboard. All right, so now we are loading that, and we have permission to see that. So that is how we're going to continue to add this stuff. I'm going to check also the admin products, because that's what we're going to work on first. All right, so products is working correct as well. All right, so basically, if you guys look in the database, you'll be able to add multiple ACLs into this. So you can have like 30 different ACLs added into here if you want. It's literally an array. Okay. So that will give additional privileges if you need to. For right now, it should be adequate for us to just have a super admin, and regular registered people who log in won't have access to this stuff. The next thing that I want to do is I want to create a new layout, because I want my admin portal to have a different menu and a different layout from the front end site. Okay, so we're going to build a new layout, and then we're going to add a new menu as well, and a new menu ACL file. And so it's really easy to add as many of these things as you want. All right, guys. I love the collaboration going on. Let's you guys stay focused on this stuff. Help me out here, and you guys can connect at any time. Well, actually, I don't care what you guys do. You guys are advanced users and stuff like that, so it's all good. But I'm here to connect with you guys, so I really want to talk with you guys. All right, so now that I'm done rambling like an idiot, let's go and build some new layouts. All right, so I'm going to actually go to views, and then we have the layouts directory, and I'm going to duplicate both the default and the main menu. So for default, I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to say, I'm just going to call this admin. Okay. In the main menu, I'm going to call this, I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm just going to call it admin menu. All right, and then what I want to do is inside of our, let's open up admin.php. So right here on this include for the menu, I'm not going to include the main menu. I'm going to include the admin menu. Okay. And then that allows us to do all kinds of other stuff. So again, if we want to do something like if we need other libraries or anything like that, we can keep it separate on our layouts and load those separately. So we may not need everything, say, on the front end of the site as we do on the admin portal, and vice versa. So this allows us to have separate layouts. Also, a lot of you guys talk to me about Ajax and wanting to do Ajax requests. The thing about Ajax is you would need a layout for, because you can't return HTML with an Ajax request. You want to be returning JSON. And so you would set up basically a blank layout, and then you can set your headers and everything, and then return and just echo out the JSON in your controllers. So I'll probably do that at some point, is create like a method on the controller and call it like JSON response, and JSON response will return or echo out JSON, and that'll have a separate layout for those requests as well. So that's kind of also how you would do an API and things like that with this. Okay. The new website for the framework, well, that's not done yet, Steve. That was just a mock-up that Artur did. So there's no website link, but I will throw the link to this here in the chat box, and I'll also throw it in a description later. So that's directly to the MVC framework. All right. So what I want to do is start defining this menu for the admin area, and I want to add a link item to get there from the front end. Okay. So let's see. Let's start with, the other thing we need to do is go into the admin menu. And so here, the menu itself, we're not going to load in menu ACL. We're actually going to load in we're going to add, can't even talk. We're going to need another ACL. So I'm going to call this, what would be the best thing to call this? I don't know. Admin menu ACL. Okay. So this will allow us to create another ACL to load that menu. So go ahead and jump down to your menu ACL and duplicate that. And we'll call this one, we called it admin menu ACL. All right. So we have our menu ACL and our admin menu ACL, which right now they're the same. We're going to change that. So in the regular menu, what I want to do is I want to, let's see, after, we'll do it after logout. I want to type admin. We could put this like on the right as well, but anyhow, we'll do that. And then we're going to take this to the admin dashboard index. All right, and then for the admin menu ACL, instead of home, what we're going to do here is we're going to, this one will be dashboard, and then we'll put admin dashboard index, and then let's see, Let's leave those, I guess. And then we're gonna put here, let's put it right after the dashboard. We're gonna put products. Products is going to be an array because we're gonna have a drop down there. And so then what we want to do is maybe we'll say view products. And this will be so view products will be our admin products. Index. And then we need, let's do a separator. And there, let's do add product. It does not like my JSON for some reason. What do I got going on here? So add product, we're going to do our admin products, and then we're going to create an action there, and we're going to call that, let's call it just add, I guess. All right, let me save this. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, so now we have a new menu item called admin. That takes us to the dashboard, that's correct. Home. All right. Home logout admin. All right, so we got a problem. New ACL. Admin menu ACL. Oh. Yeah, we gotta go admin. One second, let me double check. So it is separator. Sep or. One thing is I probably spelled separator wrong. That seems like one of those words I can never spell right. Separator. No, that's correct. I need to give access to all admin pages like admin. I did that, I believe. Let me check that. You could be correct. So in the admin ACL, you know what the problem is? Let's see. Admin menu ACL. So this should just be yeah, I got this all screwed up. So for one thing, you need an ACL file and a menu ACL. And then I have this like weird thing going on where I mixed this all together and I spelled it wrong. So this is actually going to be our admin. And we got to spell it correct for that to even work. So this is actually the admin menu ACL. And then we need an ACL file. Oh, we have this. This should be good. Let me go back and check this. Man, I am dense or something right now. Admin dashboard, admin products, both have a star. Super admin. Menu ACL. This is the regular one, it's checking. Menu ACL. Default is still loading main menu. Oh! Okay. Wow. So this is working correct the way that I have it. The problem is inside of our admin controllers, we actually don't have, we haven't set it's going to use the default layout, which is defined in our config file, but we added a new layout called admin, so we need to actually use that layout. Wow, I am really dumb. So I'm going to do it actually in the constructor so that I don't have to do it in each individual action. So if you say this view set, I think it's set layout. I'll have to look at that real quick. This is why we need documentation, because I can't even remember all the methods that we created. Set layout, no underscore. All right, and so set layout, the way it works is it passes in your path, and then let's see, that loads in. Let's look at the config file real quick. Yeah. So set layout, we're just going to need to tell it to load in admin. I refresh. Okay, so now it's finally using the new layout, which is what I wanted. So now we have dashboard, and then we have the products, which is the view product and add product. And then the other thing I want to add here is a way to get back to the front end, which right now you can click on this RUA or whatever, but we probably just want to add like a visit site thing there and make the RUA thing be the dashboard, just to be consistent on that. And that's totally up to for negotiation on how you guys want to do that. But so I'm going to close that. Oops, I didn't mean to close that, but whatever. Let's see. So in the let's just close everything. Admin menu ACL. What I want to do is add a link, probably maybe, I don't know, at the end. Maybe we'll put it at the end. And we're just going to say visit site. All right, and that will take us back to home index. So let's try that out real quick, make sure that works. If I go to admin, then we have this visit site, takes us back here. So now we just need to update this branding thing, which on an admin portal, I'm not even sure we really want to have that branding thing there. Possibly we could, but so then what we do there is go to admin menu. So this has a totally different menu. We could change all of this however we want, but I'm going to change that from proot to admin dashboard, And instead of displaying the menu brand here, I think I'm just gonna do something really cheesy right now and just put admin portal. Okay. All right, let's see. Refresh that. So admin portal takes us to the dashboards. View products takes us to the products page. So the products page is still loading the wrong layout. So we just need to update that one as well. So we just need to go to the admin products controller and all right, so admin products controller, and then set the layout. So I'm going to copy this from the dashboard and set it in the constructor because I don't want to do that in every single action, and all these actions are going to do the same thing. It's going to load the same layout rather. The only caveat to that is if we start doing AJAX calls to the same controllers, then what we'll want to do with those is we'll want to load our JSON layout for that. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so now we're about back. We need to go and create our products. So let's add our products form, and we'll see how far we get with that. I think we'll probably get pretty dang far with it. We might even be able to start printing our products to the screen, and that will get into some joining of tables and things like that. So that'll be pretty fun, especially with my mental capacity being as low as it is tonight. That'll be awesome. All right, so now let's go ahead and go to products add product, and that method doesn't exist, so let's create it. So admin products, we need public function add action, and we'll say this view render, and we'll do admin products add. So then in our views, we just go to admin products, we'll add a new file, and we're going to call this we called it admin add.php. I'm also going to put a partials directory in here because we're going to be editing and adding, and we're going to reuse the same form. So we're going to put our form actually in a partial. So let me see. We did the same thing in register. No, we didn't. We did the same thing. We did it in the course, but that was our contacts thing. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to load up the view just so I can see that we have this partial thing right here. And so let's see, app views partials, group partials. Okay, yeah, that's what we'll do. That's that'll be pretty easy. So, and inside of our partials, we want to add a new file, and we'll call this form.php. So the form is going to be shared, and that's why it's in a partial. So we don't have to repeat that code on many different layouts. So let's go now and let's see. The add isn't really going to have much to it. I'm trying to decide, we may not even need to separate these out from our edit. We will for now, and then if we need to combine them again, it's not a big deal. All right, so what I'm going to say here is we'll do our PHP opening tags. We'll say this start body, Whoa. Start, and the parameter we pass in is body, and then we will go ahead and echo out the output buffer by using the end method. So that's all that's doing. This actually starts an output buffer, and this actually cleans the output buffer and echoes it to the screen. So that's what the end method does, in case you guys are ever wondering about that. All right, so I'm gonna say let's do an H1 here, and let's just say add new product. And what I want to do is also above this start, I want to do this set site title and add product. Whoa. All right, so now that we have that, the thing that we need to do underneath here is go ahead and add the form. And so let's do a div with a class of I'm just gonna make it full page for now. I don't know, that kind of looks bad. So we'll do a div with a class of row. I don't know why emit's not working for me lately. I don't know if you guys have that problem ever. It's like, I think it interacts with other plugins that I have sometimes. So this is going to be a class of row, and then we'll do a div class call medium 10 call medium offset 1. Like I said, I use React a lot, so if you see me make stupid mistakes with HTML, I don't use HTML or even CSS all that much at work. We use Sass, so you'll find me leaving off a lot of curly braces and semicolons and crap like that. All right. So then here, what I want to do is go ahead and put that partial. So what we do is we say PHP this load partial. What did I name that? Oh, it's just partial. All right. I need documentation. All right, so this partial, and then it is in admin products, and it is called form. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at that real quick and make sure that works. Hello. Sweet. Wait, where did I misspell that? It was in admin products controller. Man. All right. So here we have add new product, and then we have hello being loaded into that. Let me look at this HTML real quick. Make sure this is all good. Container fluid, class of row. Yeah. I don't remember. I don't really remember what the bootstrap 3 column offset class is. I could have that backwards. Like I said, I use a lot of other stuff besides bootstrap for Word. So it's been a while. It's been a minute. All right, so this is, of course, it took me not where I wanted to go. Bootstrap 3. So I hope you guys see that I have to look stuff up all the time, and I hope that alleviates some fear, like for those of you who haven't started a job yet. Because when I first started a job, I was always worried about, man, if I have to look something up, I'm gonna look stupid, and they're not gonna know. They're gonna think I'm not ready for this job and stuff like that. But that's just, man, that never happens. Like, I don't, because I haven't worked in too many places, but I've never even heard of someone like being expected to not have to look things up. And so I think that's something that you guys don't ever get exposed to in YouTube training most of the time, because whoever's doing the course, even my old courses, like I look everything up ahead of time, I figure out all the code ahead of time, and then when I shoot the video, I'm simply like basically just copying the code I had already written for you guys, and you guys miss out all of that stuff. 3 times column medium 4 inside row, yeah, so there's 12. What I was hoping to do, what I wanted to do here is all medium 10 and offset 1. I don't know, we're gonna keep going. I'll fix this as we go. So let's go ahead and work on our form. And instead of hello, that's a stupid thing to say there. We're not going to say that. We're actually going to put a form tag here, and the form, we need an action, and the action we're going to pass down from the controller. And the reason we're going to do that is because we're going to use the same form for editing and for adding. And so we're going to say this, we'll just call it, whoa. We're going to say, we're going to echo out this form action. So that doesn't exist yet. That's going to be an error, but we'll take care of that. It's not a big deal at all. Our method for this is going to be post, and then what we'll do is we'll do ink type, and then I want to do multi-part form data on this, because what we're going to do is allow for uploading images. We're going to allow for uploading probably multiple images at one time for the products, and so in order to do that we need a multi-part form data as an encode type. All right. So the next thing that I want to do is let's see. We need to pass down this form action before I forget that, because that's going to be an error. So inside this add action right here, we're just going to say this view, and then we're going to say form action, and that's actually going to what we're going to make that equal is proot, and then we're going to concatenate on, let's see, this is admin products / add. Okay, so that should take us back to the same exact spot. All right. So now we should have a form here. All right. And yep, live admin products add. Okay, we're looking good so far. So let's now that we have that form action passed down, let's add some of the, well, you know what we need is we need to go ahead and set up our database table and our model so that we can start putting these forms in. That's okay. We're going to do this as we go. So in our side of our form here, let's do stupid PSR4 auto loading. I don't know whose idea that was. We're going to use core / form helpers, and I'll probably just put these on separate lines here. All right, now we have form helpers. So the first thing I want to do at the top of my form is add our cross-site request forgery check. So that is going to be FH CSRF input, I believe. Let's go and open up CSRF input. Yep, that's correct. All right, so I'll probably keep this open just for reference because now we're going to add a bunch of form fields, and so let's do that. Add a new product. I'm going to check that. I like to check things as I go. I don't know. Maybe you guys just kind of wing it. All right, so the token looks good. The next thing that I want to do is I want to give the product a name. We're going to give the product a description. We are going to do brand and vendor as well. May not do that in this form just yet because I want to build those tables out as we go and then add them. So let's do that. Let's go to the form, and then the other thing I want to do right here at the top is I want to go ahead and do our display errors. So this is just going to be display errors, and we'll pass in this display errors as a parameter. Now this doesn't exist yet either, so let's just, in order to not get a, because right now if I refresh you're going to get an error, see undefined property. So in order to define that, let's just go back to admin products, and we're also going to say this view display errors, and for now we're going to set that empty to an empty array. We'll get to that in a moment. Gosh. I think we need to work on the names of the classes next. Yeah, again, guys, listen. This stuff is totally up to you. Like, however you want to name your classes, all right? I named it FH for form helpers and H for helpers because I'm lazy, and that's the way I want to do it. You guys can name that crap anything you want, all right? It's your framework. You do it however you want. So that's basically, for me, I'm just going to remember the F, because I don't want to type out form helpers or anything like that every time I'm calling a static method that's just stored in a helpers file somewhere. I don't mind like doing stuff like that for like users and for models and stuff, but I definitely don't want to be doing that every time I call like a helper function. Yeah, we're all lazy. We just need to be, the problem is with developers, we're all lazy, but we're not all lazy in the same way. And so we like have all these little pet peeves with each other's code and stuff. It's ridiculous trying to work with a team of developers, man. It's pretty funny actually. We do code review in the morning, like, why'd you do it like that? And the next guy's like, why'd you do this like this? And it's just like a long, like, you know, kind of bantering of each other. All right, so the next thing I want to do is let's go ahead and add an input here. So input block. All right. And for this, what we need to we'll do a text field, and the label, let's just do I don't know, name, and then we'll call it name for the ID. And then for the input, we're going to give this a class and we'll give this class a form. Wait, I think it's form control. That's the bootstrap one. And then I'm also going to give it a class of input small. All right, and then for our div, our surrounding div, this gets a class, and this class is actually just going to be form group. Let's see, do I want? We'll also say call medium 6. And that, I always do this. I forgot the value right here. So the value, we're just going to do a blank string for now because I don't want to get a bunch of errors. We're going to replace those values in just a moment. All right, there we go. So we have the name, and then also let's do, just for fun, let's go back to the add.php. I'm going to give this one more class here of well. And then we can move, let's see, close this up. We can move this stuff around later. All right, so the next thing that we need, let's do list price and shipping all as maybe two column lists. All right, so the next thing we'll do is price. Let's go back to the form here. I'm just going to copy this again because I'm lazy. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, and we'll do price, give it a 2 there. The next one I'm going to do list price, but we're just going to call it list in the database, and that will be 2 columns as well. And then this one, let's call this so list price, and then this will be shipping. This could also be like shipping and handling or whatever, however you guys want to, you know, you can always, it always looks good too if you do this and then you put free. like it's just like a sales tactic. Like people, they put shipping and then they're like free, but they really build the shipping into the price. So refresh. All right, so we got name, price, list price, shipping. Man, my back is like, have you guys ever had like a, well, I broke my back in a sledding accident, and like, I don't know if you guys have ever had like back spasms where they like, it just like all the muscles along your spine just like turn to rocks, and then like it's hard to breathe and it hurts all the way through your chest and stomach. I feel like I'm gonna die right now. I swear it's like the universe wants me to like fail at these live streams bad. All right. I'm not going down like that, universe. Just keep throwing punches. All right, so I should name it Lazy Framework. The new light lazy framework. It's not quite lazy enough because like true developers are just like, I just want to be able to type like install e-commerce site and hit enter, and it just does it. We're not even developers at that point. It's just like, might as well be installing like a WordPress site. You know what I'm saying? All right, so so the next thing that I want to do is, let's see, we need a description. You know what we're going to do with this description at some point too is, I think it would be really cool for us to do like a WYSIWYG editor to allow people to do like HTML descriptions possibly. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? We could just do like a plain text one, or we can add like just a simple like tiny MCE or something to add some sort of markup to the description. I think that'd be a nice little touch, but you know, I could be wrong. All right. So let's go ahead and for now let's do let's see, did I have anything in the form helpers for I guess I didn't have one for a text field, huh? Bummer. All right, so let's do a text field, our text area. And what I want to do, we'll give it an ID. You know what? Maybe we'll add this. Before we do this, though, let's go and get going with our database because I want to go ahead and I want to add like our stuff, like our values here, and I want those to be coming from the database object, from the model object of product. Okay, so let's just go now and do two things. We'll build our database out real quick, and then we're going to add our model. So go to phpMyAdmin. I'm going to add a new table. Yes, I know we already did this, but we're doing it again because that's how awesome I am. All right, auto increment. Yes, go do it. And the next thing that we want to do is we're going to do a created at, and that will be a date time field. And then let's do an updated at, also a date time field. And then we need our name. Let's limit that to 155. People shouldn't be naming their products like 255. Oh. Tiny MCE. Tiny MCE is responsive as well, and it respects the Bootstrap grid. I mean, it's constricted by a div, so any sort of like div element we put it in will work. Ardour says, I have created a function for select and text area form, but I cannot be over 200 characters in this chat. No, don't worry about it, man. We'll take care of it. It's not a big deal. But thank you. I love the initiative that you take, man. You're awesome. You guys are just like going like full speed ahead with this stuff, and that's actually really, really cool. There's nothing more discouraging to me than like developers who like they come on and they get on my channel and listen, I'm not talking bad about anyone, but let me give you a little bit of encouragement. If you're stuck and the screen says that you have a syntax error and it tells you what line the syntax error is on, if you're going to give up because of that syntax error or something like that, you're going to have a hard time in the development world. So just get in there and mess around and try things. What I love about you guys that are joining my live streams is you guys are developers. I can tell there's a difference between people who are developers and who are problem solvers and who can already solve problems and develop things. That's really awesome. You can tell the difference between that and a person who's like, I want to be a developer and I just need to type code. Because typing code is like 10% of being a developer, if that even. Take a look at my code, Curtis. Yeah, we will. All right, so what I want to do now is, let's see, I need to add a few more columns here. How many more? Price, list. We need the price, we need the list, we need shipping, description, deleted. I think that's all we'll do for now. All right, so we'll do price. We'll make that a decimal. Find it here. Oh, I passed it up. The length is going to be a 10, 2. And then we'll do list. 40% of development is coding, 60% debugging, solving, and improving. Yeah, I would even give less to coding. Probably my day is like 10% is coding, honestly, and like probably like a good 20% is researching. You're probably right about debugging and solving and improving, about that being 60%. The only thing I would add there is like it's also like a crap ton of meetings. So like we have like every single day you do like a stand up and you come together, and we work in a sometimes agile environment and sometimes scrum, and we kind of go back and forth between scrum and agile development. And so what is the deal is that like you have to communicate what you're working on, what you're going to work on, your progress that you're making. Everyone has to get together and decide how much work each little thing is going to be. There's a whole process to decide even on like what you're going to work on next. And so a lot of development is meetings, in which I hate meetings like, oh, with a passion. I can't stand meetings. And it seems like probably 50% of my days, some days are, and I wouldn't say this throughout the week, but 50% of like 1 or 2 days out of a 1 or 2 week sprint is like planning and meetings and code reviews, which code reviews are cool because when you look at what we would do is every single morning we come together, the dev team would come together, and everybody would have to show code that they worked on the day before. And it would have to be like, you wouldn't show just like the mundane code that you did. You would show like, you would show interesting things and things that other developers are going to need to see and do. So if you created a new method or a function, you would show that off and you would explain why you did it the way that you do it, and you get to watch everyone else's code. And you got to have a little bit of a thick skin because you like get really attached. Like one day you'll be writing something and you'll spend a bunch of time on it. You're like, man, that's beautiful code, and you go and show it to everybody else, and like all of a sudden they like so then like they like go and they're like, man, that sucks, and then like you're heartbroken. You're like, dude, you're wrong. This is awesome code. You're a jerk. you know. So Khalil suffers from 40% client nagging and relying on questions to make you want to shoot yourself. I know, man. So like in my world, there's one person that's kind of like the client, and that's like the product owner. And so there's like a product manager, and there's also like the kind of the CEO or whatever, and those people like they're the clients, and so they have the whole like nagging thing. But luckily we're kind of to a place now where like most stuff gets approved by the client, or in our case the product owner. We worked on what I work on is a software as a service app. So it's an app that people pay for a monthly subscription, and it performs service for them. And so basically, everything that we work on is approved ahead of time. And so luckily, I don't know, luckily we don't have a lot of that. You build something and they're like, what the heck is this? Every now and then it happens and it makes you want to shoot yourself. You're like, I just spent 2 weeks on that and you're saying we don't even need it anymore. Like, you know how many meetings I don't even care about the development for that. That was still fun. But you know how many meetings I had to set through? All right. Oh, thank you, Steve. Everyone, please, if you haven't yet, like and subscribe to the video. Comment, send me a super chat if you want. Also, turn on the bell notifications so that you guys get notified when I put a post out or a new video throughout the week, because I don't just do these live streams. I upload videos as often as I can, and I also I need you guys' opinions, especially some of you who are becoming kind of like my regular people. I'm going to be going to you a lot and asking questions about what I should do next, and I value your input. Anyways, man, I got off on a real big tangent there, so excuse me there. List will also be a decimal. We'll make that a 10 too. Wow. And then let's make, let's see, what was it? Oh yeah, shipping. Shipping. You know what? We're gonna do a decimal in this, and then what we're gonna do is if it's 0, we're gonna like always display free shipping there, which we could, whatever. All right, so we got shipping list, and then I said we were doing description. Description will be our only, if I can help it, it'll be our only text field. And the only reason we're going to do that, I don't want to limit people to like 255 characters. Man, what the heck? Description. Sitting so far away from my... That'll be a text field. And then deleted, because we're going to do soft delete on this, I think. So we'll say deleted, and then that is going to be a tiny int, length of 1, and let's set up an index on that. So let's give it an index, and we're going to call this deleted. All right. Description, yeah, we got that. Okay. So let's save that. Structure of products. All right, we got our deleted. Okay, I think we're good. We're actually, I don't want to add image here because Ardor said we're going to do one more for image. What I want to do with image actually is I'm going to create another table for product images so that we can actually have multiple images per product, and we can actually order them in the order that we want them to show up in the slideshow. And so we can give them a sort order, and we can give them a lot of different information, maybe captions and things like that. We will do vendor, JJ. I'm leaving vendor and brand off for just right now. We're going to kind of build this up from simple to more complex as we go. I think that's the better way to do it, so we don't get kind of lost in unnecessary code right now before we need it. Okay. So let's see, let's go back now and create our model for this. So we called it products. So we'll go to our models, and I'm going to create a new file here, and we'll call this products.php. We have to give this a namespace. And the namespace is app models. We're going to use the core model, and then we're going to say class products extends model. And let me just grab some code here from another model just because I want to be lazy. Our constructor here, and then table, we're going to replace user sessions here with products. All right, so now we need to add our public. These are going to be our fields. So let's say ID, created at, updated at, name, name, price, list, shipping, deleted is going to be equal, we'll give it a default of 0. And then we need description. ID, created, updated at, I think I got them all. So JJ says, I don't like the PSR4. Says it doesn't seem to be real auto loading. So it's not a manual auto load. So this is actually an auto load. Let me explain why I went to PSR4. 1 second. Let me just turn on my webcam because this was a struggle for me to do this because when I first built it, I just wanted people to be able to type in the class names. But here, JJ, is why this is necessary. A lot of times you're going to end up using other libraries besides your framework. In PHP world, the most common thing to use is Composer. And Composer has an autoloader built in. And the way that that works is everyone follows the PSR4 spec. Okay, so it's a predetermined, this is how you're going to namespace your classes, and this is how you're going to use those. And so when you give your class a namespace, that keeps like, so let's imagine, let's just say we had a class called helper, okay? Well, we might install 30 libraries that all have that same class of helper. So when your autoloader goes through, the one that's going to load is whichever one lands in the autoloader first, right? And so that's not really what we want. We want to be able, for all those libraries and for all of our classes, for the core part of the framework, and then for our app, we need to namespace those classes. The thing that allows us to do is it allows us to name our classes the same things. So we don't have to like have unique classes across an app that might grow to be insanely large. Man, I could tell you that the app that I work on is millions and millions and millions of lines of code. It's huge. We've been building it for 10 plus years, and there are so many classes, and if we weren't using the PSR4 method of auto loading that, it would be an absolute nightmare. And when we go to add classes, there would be all sorts of conflicts. And so that's what PSR4 really that's what it alleviates is the conflicts of class names. It allows you to namespace them and then only use the ones that you need to use. It's not like requiring them at the beginning of the file. It's just saying, hey, in this class, I'm going to use these other classes, but I want to use them from these. So it is a real autoloader, and I understand where you're coming from, JJ. It's not going to allow us to grow this framework or this application very large if we don't do it in this manner. So I do understand where you're coming from, and I hope you can just kind of trust me on this for a minute, and you'll realize that this isn't really that bad. And actually, I need to look into it more, but PHP 7 introduced namespace groups. And so instead of having to say use and then list out each class that you're going to use, you can create a group, and then you could just load in that group. So that would be a lot less lines of code, but it's really nice to actually be able to look and say, hey, I'm using all of these classes in this, and you can clean that up as you go as well. But yeah, so I do get where you're coming from. Just hang with me on that. The reason that I didn't do it in the very beginning this way is because like I said, I'm lazy and I just want to type my class names, but it's just not logically feasible for most people. So I hope that clears that up, why we did that. So anyhow, if anyone else has any insight into that, if you've experienced autoloaders colliding with names, I'll tell you this, JJ, you may not realize this, is like if you do use Composer and you use libraries, it's already PSR4. You may not even realize it, but it is. You're usually calling some sort of the autoloader itself is kind of taking care of it, but it is. All right. Let me switch back to my screen so that you guys can see what's going on here. So we got our model. So now we should be able to go into our controller, and at the top of this add action, what we want to do is we're going to set up, go ahead and set up our product. So product is going to equal a new products. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we have to just, JJ's going to love this, but we have to say use app models and then products. Okay. So let's see. So I have some few more comments probably about this PSR4 stuff. Yeah, it solves the name conflict. I think that what's annoying about it is the name. It's not really auto since you're doing it manually. Yeah, I mean, you're not really having to go in though and write a require and then put the path in. You really just need to know your namespace, and then you put the namespace and then the name of the class. So it's still a little bit easier. But I get where you're coming from, guys. I do. Trust me. That's why I did it this way. But quickly ran into some issues, especially if you want to use this framework with other libraries. With object-oriented programming, you're going to need this. You're going to need it. So, all right. Now what we can do is we can pass that product down to our view. So we're going to say this view product is equal to product. All right. And the reason we're not just doing this all in one line is we're going to do some manipulation with this product. And we just kind of want to load it into the view after we do whatever manipulation we want to it up here. All right, so now what we're going to do is semi-auto. That's even better, Khalil. All right, maybe this will clear everything up for everyone. We are not doing auto-loading anymore. This is semi-auto loading. And in fact, I may even go to the index.php and I may change this from auto-load to semi-auto load. I think that'd be really funny. I'm going to do that. Semi-auto load. And then I'm going to change this right here. Semi-auto load. That's just for fun. You guys don't have to do that. I love that. That's hilarious. You guys are funny. Okay. Let me close some of this crap I don't need to open just because. On the dashboard, what I'd really like to do at some point is do some like reporting. So we'll have some graphs and sales and all that kind of stuff on our dashboard. So when you first go to the admin portal, you can see like, what are my recent sales? How does this compare to the previous month? Kind of like YouTube analytics or something like that. If you guys have a YouTube channel and you kind of look into the back. But yeah, we're gonna do some of that cool stuff too. So I look forward to doing some graphs and seeing how that goes. And we're gonna do some really cool joins when we get there too. All right. All right, so let's see. Products. So we're about an hour left. So we're making some good progress here. All right, so now inside the form, we're gonna be passing down products. So everywhere we had this value, now we can actually put our, we're gonna echo out this product, and in this case it'd be name. All right, so we're passing this down to the view, and then we can use that. I don't even know if there we go. The list, so price, and then list, and then shipping. All right. So now let's go back here, refresh. I have a syntax error. Line 7. I close the PHP. Oh. You guys should have caught that. Maybe you did. We don't need to echo those out because we are already in PHP. So we just need to simply use it. this product price. Sometimes I get in like auto mode and I just kind of start typing crap. You know what I should do more to speed up my development time? I should tell my boss this at work. I'm gonna speed up my development. I'm actually better at work. Trust me, by the time I get to this live stream after working all day, my brain is so fried. I learn something new every day. But all right, so we have all this. Let's just test to make sure our model is working out. So what I want to do here in this products is we're just going to say, just for fun, I'm going to get rid of this, so I don't even care about indenting it correctly. We're just going to say product name is equal to default name. So now when I load that page, this should be populated with default name already. There we go. All right. So that's working. It's all good to go. So now what we need to do, let's see. So now what we can do also is, instead of just an empty array right here, we can actually do product get error messages, which will right now will be an empty array as well. So it's going to be the same, but it's just setting us up for doing form validation and then displaying our form errors there. So then what we're going to do is, if you guys haven't seen like the way that this is all done now, you can check out the last few videos in the MVC framework thing when you get a chance. But we've kind of refactored some of this stuff. So the other thing we want to do here is we want to know if they have posted to this add action. So let's do an if statement here. And instead of doing this underscore post, which is not a very great check to see if they posted something, because that post could actually be empty, but they still posted to this action. So rather, what we want to do is do this request, and then there's a new method called isPost. All right, so if you look in the controller, this is coming from, let's see, where did I put that? Oh, no, it's coming. So in the controller, what happens is now in the constructor, it sets up this request is equal to new input. So now I've extended the input class, and we have all kinds of new stuff here. We have isPost, isPut, isGet to check those request methods. And then we have a new function called, we changed the get function from being a static method to a regular method here, just a public method. And this is actually going to, you can pass in a field name, or if you don't pass in anything, it returns the entire request array. So, all right, so there we go. There's the get function. And then we also have this cross-site request forgery check added to the input here. So the first thing that we always want to do if we're using the cross-site request forgery thing is at the first part of the request, we want to say this CSRF check, except for we have to say this request CSRF check, and that will actually check that their token hasn't been tampered with, and that they have a token and that it's correct with this session. So because we, in our form, because we did this cross-site request forgery input, the check happens here on the post. Okay, so it's inside this if statement. So if it's a post, check that first, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say product, and then we'll say assign, and what we want to assign is this request get, and what that does is it takes the request array and passes it into a sign, which will populate this product, all the properties. All right, so then what we're going to do is the product, after we assign it, we're going to save it. And that should be mostly it for our action for now. We're gonna have to do some other stuff. Get stiff. So we're gonna have to do some other stuff in a little while when we get to the point of image uploads and things like that. But let's test this real quick. So if I just go ahead and give this thing a name, and I'm just going to delete all this stuff in a little bit. Say $15. The list price is $999, and the shipping is going to be well, the shipping is going to be outrageous. So it's going to be $459. Sure. All right. So then what we want to do is, have you guys ever done that? Have you ever been like, I'm get used to hitting Control S so much that when I'm in a browser, I'll hit Control S to save this. But we actually don't have a way to submit this. So let's do that. So in the form down here, let's just skip down a few lines, and we'll say FH submit block, and then we'll put save as our button text. And then I want to say we're going to give this thing a class button large, button primary, and then I'm going to give the surrounding div a class of text right. Whoa. Also, we'll give it a call medium 12. Let's take a look at that. Got to close those PHP tags, boys and girls. All right, we got a problem. Created at cannot be null. So you know what would be cool? Let's go ahead and let's add a function. Yeah, this would be cool. This is a useful thing that I'm going to add right now to the framework, guys, but we're not going to spend hours. This is really going to take a couple seconds. So what we want to do is let's go to the model. So go to core model, and let's add a new method. I'll just slam this thing down here at the bottom. And we'll call this thing timestamps. So what we want to do is, this is going to be super simple. What we want to do is we want to set up a timestamp for right now. So let's just say now is equal to date, and the date is going to be formatted. It's going to be formatted like the MySQL database. So we'll do year. I can't remember. This is probably wrong. And then month, day, space, H, capital H, I, S, And this is probably lowercase for, and then string to time. So let's use the H dump and die. I just want to take a look at this real quick. Year, month, date, HIS. Yeah, that's what it is. Capital Y. I might have to look that up. I don't know if it's different when you define that in JavaScript and PHP. I do mostly JavaScript, so I could have this all wrong. No big deal though, we'll fix it. Let's just look it up. I want to be 100% sure. PHP date formats. Yeah, so it's two capital Y's, two capital M's, and then two capital D's. All right. So then to use this, what I want to do is we're going to utilize this before save hook that we have now. So inside of the products model, we're going to say public function, and then we're going to say before save, and this runs before the actual save, and we'll just say this time stamps. Okay, let's go back now. Wow, that's not correct. I don't know why I'm struggling with this so much. I do this. Probably the problem is like I have so many helper functions and stuff at work that I very rarely write much like stuff like this. Let's see. What did that return? It returned the year. So it's just Y M I don't know. Let's try that. It should probably work anyway. Like my skill will probably parse that. Gosh dang. Didn't save. The only problem is this stupid month thing. All right, that's how I want it. Okay, so now that we have this done, they're saying there's no need for string to time. Let's try that out. Let's try that without string to time. I think you're probably right. I think we only need that when we're converting. Yeah, we're all good to go there. All right, so we don't need that. So then what we're going to do here is instead of dump and die in this, what we're going to do is we're going to do an if statement to see if ID is checked. So no matter what we're going to do, the updated at, so we're going to say this updated at is going to equal now. And then if, so if not, or if empty, this ID, then what we want to do is we're going to say this created at is equal to now. So we're just going to fix that. Description can't be null. Stupid. I'm going to go here and we're going to edit that real quick. And we're going to check null. Hit save. Go back here, refresh, resubmit, and then let's check our database, see what happened. All right. So, date default time zone set. Okay, I don't agree with you guys on that actually. Not when we're inserting time, because what we want to do is we always want this to be UTC time. So what we can do is when we display this time to the outside world, we'll convert the time zone then. In a lot of cases, what software does is it will store users' time zones, and it will actually convert it based upon their time zones there. But storing it in a database, we need like a time that's not manipulated at all. Like it's set, and we know exactly what it is. It's like UTC time. That's it. I don't ever subscribe that in most. I shouldn't say never, but 99.9% of the time, you should always store date and time fields as UTC in the database. You should not do any time zone conversion going into the database. Now, coming out of the database, yes. Okay. So, if you guys don't agree with that, then you can just we can agree to disagree, and you guys can do that if you'd like. I'm going to tell you that I've ran into a lot of problems when you try to do that, because let's just say, for instance, you store something that's time sensitive, and then somebody for some reason updates their time zone after the product or whatever you're doing has been saved in a database. How do you know without storing in a separate table what their original timestamp was or their time zone when it was stored in the database? But if you always save it as UTC and then do all your conversions later, there is a single point of truth. The database is always the same time as UTC. Okay, so if you guys don't agree with that, I understand. It's a time zone. When you start getting into time zones and daylight saving times and all that, it gets really complex really, really quick most of the time. So you had an issue where, because for me right now, this is definitely UTC time. So he's saying you should specify as UTC. You could. I mean, my server happens to be UTC. So you guys can check that. When it saves this, it's just by default for me UTC. So you could very well absolutely check that. All right. So we have this saving to the database, but what we want to do, you guys understand that timestamps thing? Because what we want to do is, it's only checking if there's an ID. Yeah, you research that and get back to me, Khalil. It could be safer. I mean, especially if we're going to be deploying this on many different servers and things like that. In my case, I work on like I said, a software as a service thing. and I control the servers and I control all of that stuff. And so I know exactly what the servers are doing. But if we were like creating something, say, like a framework that could be put on many different things, it could be safer to explicitly say, hey, use UTC time. I'll agree with that. It could be. I just don't want to spend a ton of time on that right now. I may update the framework to add this in there. But for now, it's just check an ID, and it's only going to add created at or change the created at value if it's basically there's no ID, meaning it's an insert. If it's an update, we only want to update the updated at value, and then the created at will stay the same. So for example, let's just test that real quick. Let's go back, and this product is still loaded in here, so I'm gonna hit save again, and let's see what happens. It doesn't store the ID, so it just added it again. But we'll see that later when we go to edit stuff. I'm actually going to delete both of these because I don't want either one of those in my database. All right, how much time we got? All right, plenty of time. So what we're going to do next is so now you guys have seen that before save thing, which allows us to it allows us to run something and manipulate data before it saves it. So in my case, I don't want to have to remember to, in all my controller actions, set up the timestamps. I'm probably going to be using the timestamps thing on most of my tables anyway. So I just created in the model to run this timestamps on before save. Okay. So now what we want to do is run validation on this form. And so let's go ahead and set up some form validation. You guys get to see like how this is working. So public function validator, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to do something JJ hates like crazy, and we're gonna put a bunch of validators, and we're gonna do let's see, we're gonna want some required ones. Let's just do required for now, and we'll add them in as we need. So required validator, and then inside the validator function, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up required fields as an array, and it's going to be an associative array because what I want to pass in a message to. So this is going to be name. We'll just say, oh crap, name. I know this is kind of stupid. So name, I'm going to explicitly tell it though. So name, and then we'll say the next one, we'll just make them, let's see, what is there? Name, price, list price, shipping. So name, price. Shipping, and list. So say list. So Artur is asking me to do the validation later. I'm at least going to do some of the validation now because there are people who watch these that haven't gone through the framework course, and it's just going to kind of show them how to do it. This is going to be super simple, man. Just give me 1 second here. So for each required fields as field display, then I want to say this run validation. Whoa. This is probably all I'll do for validation right now, just to show you how it kind of works. So run validation, and then we'll say new required validator, and then we pass in the validator, you always pass in the model object first, which is this, and then we pass in for field, and then we have to give it a message. Okay, and the message is going to be display, and then we'll concatenate on is required. All right, let's go now, refresh. I'm just gonna hit enter actually, hit save, and then now it's telling us, hey, name is required, price is required, shipping is required, and list price is required. Should probably, just for the sake of put those in that order. And so we can do much more. It can be off topic, but can you explain how to use groups in autoloading? So groups is not going to be auto-loading, but let's look that up. Let's figure that out. Maybe that'll be fun, because actually adding, and this is only going to work on PHP 7, so you have to be running PHP 7. But so basically, to let's see, name PHP namespace groups. Oh, man. So use MVC, chat, my class, your class, our class as the class. Actually, I didn't think you had to do the as stuff. Oh, I see. I thought you could actually like set up the groups like inside of the actual thing though. I don't know. But basically it's going to be, you're going to say use, and then you put the qualified namespace, and then like Khalil was saying, you basically put opening and closing curly braces. So let's see. So what we could do is say, I think what we can do is say validators, if I'm correct here. So if we did required validator, then we could do, let's see, another one would be numeric validator. Is that correct, Khalil? Let's see. Let's see if it works. Outside this for each. This run validation new numeric validator. We're all learning something together. Well, maybe not Khalil. He knows it already. What did I do wrong here? That's because this has to be an array. Oh. And I have to pass the model down. All right. So if I give price like a string, yeah, now it's saying price must be a number. All right, so basically what we can do is instead of having a bunch of lines at the top, since all of these share the same namespace, like all these core validators, I can just require them in like this and have a list of them. I still think there's something else though. I think, and I could be wrong about this, so don't hate me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a way to like basically define some sort of like group name and then just require that name and it automatically does all this. I'll have to look into that though. I'll research that on my own time so I don't take up a bunch of time. But that's kind of how you can group all that stuff that's got real similar, you know, namespaces. So all these are in core validators. So then you can just put them in like in this format. Okay. 28 minutes left, guys. All right. So let me get a drink of coffee. All right. So if we add, let's see. Trying to think what we should do and how much we have time to do. I don't think we have time for the WYSIWYG thing yet, because we have like 28 minutes. I feel like I'd go over, possibly. We just got to run HTML entities on that, which we already are because we're using the input class. Uploads, we could do the images, but I feel like I need to go into validating the uploads to at least do some minor validation stuff. Make sure not do anything crazy. What do you guys think? You guys have any idea what we can do in 28 minutes? You guys have questions, even not related to this, just about development in general, or you guys want to run anything by me? We can do that too. I'm completely open. See, I don't want to rush. This page is a good candidate for Ajax. That's true. I'm gonna try to save most of the Ajax interactions for like the front end stuff, but JJ says I use external libraries for uploads. We could do that. I'd probably, I mean, I just don't know if it's necessary. So if the time that I might use an external library for an upload thing is, say, like, if you're not going to be storing the files like on your own server, like say you're going to use S3 or Google Cloud or something like that. One thing that can be easily added is before delete and after delete. Yeah, that's really quick to add. Do you think, what would be the use case of that? Khalil, if you could just expand on why you would want to use it before delete or an after delete. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's super simple to add that. No storing on clouds. Yeah, we're not going to store on clouds for this because it's expensive. So I was just saying, like, I would probably store on cloud like with an external library. I just don't know that an external library is necessary just to do some simple validation and stuff like that. Maybe if you're wanting to do antivirus stuff, there's a library called PHP Muscle, I think, Mussell, that you can do. It's kind of slow though. It slows the uploads down a little bit, but it actually checks the file uploads for viruses and malware. which could be cool if you have like front facing. This upload of files, I mean, it's at least somewhat protected because we're going to be only having certain people uploading stuff, so I don't really worry about the viruses. We could, I don't know. All right. So for example, validating user permissions. If a category is deleted in the after delete, I delete all related products if desired. That's a really good point, because we'll do that anyway with our products. So when we delete the product, we'll just delete all the images to go with it. So yes, let's do that. You know what? Yep. I agree, Khalil. I just wanted to see like what the use case would be for now and see if it's useful. So real simple, if you just open up model.php, let's go down to the bottom where I added the before and after save stubs, and we'll actually just do public function before delete and public function after delete. We could make these protected as well. All right. So then we just need to go to our delete function, and we'll run if soft delete right here. So if you want to validate stuff though, we need to like have an if statement for the before so that you can stop delete. So I guess what we'll do is we'll say well, the after delete's simple. It's super simple, so let's add that first. Well, we're returning all this stuff. So let's see. So we'll have to do that, and then I want to take a look at this database delete real quick, just to make sure of something real quick. So update returns true or false, and delete also returns true or false. Okay, that's good. So we'll go back to model, and so these will be true or false. So what we can do is down here we can say if delete. We can run this after save, and then we're going to return delete there. If this soft delete, else delete. Okay, and then before save, I'll tell you what we'll do. The before save, we'll go ahead and return true here, and this will set you up for being able to return something on the before save to stop the save from even happening. So what we could do here is we'll say if this before save we'll dump all this into that, and then the only other thing is we probably want to there's probably a way to, I'm too dumb right now, but there's a way to clean up this to be a lot nicer looking. Let's see, return false if there's no ID. ID is equal to this ID. It's running this before save no matter what, and that returns a true or false. So you just need to remember. So let's go ahead and do something real quick so that your IDE or whatever you're using can. I put that in the wrong freaking spot too. So before delete, I'm just gonna skip down a line here, and I'm just gonna put some dot comments. Stupid dot comments. Why isn't that working? I have a plugin installed on Atom that should help me, and I guess it's going to be dumb for now, so we'll just alright, so let's say at return boolean, and this runs before save needs to return a boolean. Alright, so in that way, if I think it should be this before delete. Why are we calling after save in a delete function? Well, that would be, let's see, probably because I'm stupid. Shouldn't be doing that. You're funny, Khalil. I meant before delete. I don't know. My brain just kind of probably saw these before save and after save, and I just typed them in here. So that would have been confusing to try to debug. If you guys weren't with me, I would have just went along my merry way doing that. So doing this in an after delete would be faster because it won't delay the delete if I'm trying to also remove hundreds of product. Yeah, the products, when you're deleting stuff, you do want to do that after delete. But absolutely, like before delete would be more like your validation stuff. So like if the person doesn't have a user permission to delete, really that could be controlled by the ACL. So what you would do, it could be controlled in two different ways. You could do a before delete and check their ACL permissions. But really, they have no business posting to a delete action that would call that function if they don't have access to it. So you would just restrict access to that. I'm just going to leave the before delete there in case someone wants to use it, but I probably won't use before delete very often. I will use after delete quite often. So yeah. All right. Well, guys, we got about 15 minutes, which isn't a ton of time to do much. But I hope you can see like the power of using a real simple framework like this, that we can literally just go into the core files and understand it easily and update whatever stuff. So we want hooks. Well, we just added a before and after delete hook, and we get to determine how those work as well. And then we want hooks for before and after save. Well, in the save method, that's exactly what I did. I ran before save and I ran after save. And I also ran the validator at the beginning of the save function. That way people don't have to remember to run that. You guys might think that's a bad idea. I think it's a good idea. But either way, you can customize this stuff to work however you want it to work. Let's see. Alright guys, well, I don't want to waste you guys' time. I really don't think we have much time to start and finish anything else. So if you guys have any questions or want to chat about anything, or you want to go through anything, I'm happy to do so for the next 15 minutes or so. Or if you guys don't have anything else, I'll let you guys get on, because I know a lot of you guys have stayed up all night or have gotten up extremely early in the morning. I've been thinking about trying to change that so that I take on the getting up late or staying up late or getting up early to do these for you guys. But I just don't know. I just don't know what would be relevant with that. Like I don't. Since I've started these at 7, I don't know what would be good. So, anyways, guys, not really getting any more comments from you. So, I think tonight was productive. I know that kind of starting fresh, we're not really starting fresh because we kind of skipped finishing up the validation stuff during this video, which I said we were going to do. So instead of, it's almost 6 a.m. My wife's going to kill me. Oh my gosh, man. You didn't go to sleep yet? Oh, well, be safe and don't do anything crazy. At least take a power nap here. And I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much to each and every one of you guys. You guys make this live stream rock. And I look forward to learning from you guys just as much as you learning from me. I think just having a community of people getting together and learning from one another and criticizing each other in a positive way will make us all better developers. And there's no like harm in you guys saying, hey, why don't you do it this way or whatever. I'm not saying I'll always do it that way, but just because I think one way, like you guys have a different mind and you think in a different way and you might solve problems different from me. And I'll tell you, like, I'm just stubborn. Like, I'm not very smart of a person. I just don't give up and I get stuff done. And I get stuff done very quickly. Like at my job, I'm one of the fastest developers. I know it probably doesn't seem like it on these live streams, but I get crap done, but I don't always write the best looking code. And I wish I was better at that. So, we will continue to grow together. I'm going to continue to try to make these live streams better. I'm going to also, before our next session, I think what we want to do for sure is we want to do our WYSIWYG editor for our description. We want to get our images uploaded, and then we want to do our details page to display the images in like a slideshow type thing. So we'll be do joining and stuff like that to get our images. We may dive into brand and vendor at that point, or we may actually dive into the table list view of the products and go into deletion so that we can delete images and clean stuff up if we decide to delete a product. We need to do our editing and basic CRUD operations on that stuff. And then if we get to it, I think that'll probably do us for the next session. But if we do get to it, then we can look at adding employees from the admin portal or vendors, or however you want to look at it, and giving them some new ACLs to allow them to do certain things and not other things. Khalil asked a question, says, do you think adding multilingual functionality would be a good idea? Yes. The problem with that is time consuming. I mean, there's no real way around that. Unless you want to use like Google Translate, it's pretty time consuming because you have to create a language file basically for all the languages that you want to support. And then everywhere that you're printing something, you have to access the language file. So we may, like, if it's something you're really interested in knowing how to do, then what we'll probably do is do like a small language file and show an example of how it could work. But I really doubt, unless everyone else is really interested in it, we'll spend much time doing the whole app multilingual. Could just use a Chrome extension. Most people do that anyway. Even on, like, because Chrome will translate on its own, will translate your website. But language files are good for more than just like language conversion. You can use that stuff for, like, for instance, we white label our software as a service company, and there's many other companies that have their own names for things. So like we might call something contact manager, and our white label partner who license our software and basically gives it their own branding, they'll call theirs, instead of contact manager, they might call it CRM or something. So you can use a language file for that as well. So So Khalil says, well, JJ said, I hope the Thursday streams will continue for a while. I like to learn from you. Um, yep, we're gonna continue this for a while, guys. We will always do this until it's done, or unless I die or something crazy happens. I'm gonna continue doing these until we're done. Um, and then even after that, we can continue with a different project. I mean, this is just an excuse to get together and talk, guys. I mean, I don't care what we're building. We can build something else next. Let's see. Yeah, I will check JJ's changes, guys. But I need to see that like as a pull request or give me access to it in some way. All right, guys. Well, with that, I will be. You guys send me messages. If you send me a message through YouTube, I can approve it. I'll recognize you guys' names that are on these often, like JJ and stuff like that, and I'll approve them. And then if you just want to send me links to your code to check out things like that, I'll definitely take a look. So anyhow, guys, thank you so much. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate our time together. I can't tell you how much I appreciate learning from you guys. And guys, let's go out and pay it forward. You know, we're all blessed and we're becoming blessed. And let's go out and bless someone else. Let's go out and make someone else's life better, and do our best to leave the world in a better place than when we found it. So with that, guys, have a wonderful night. Love you guys. I'm out. Peace out.